A, Ella, 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 A.
What are you doing?
This is my umbrella. It covers me from the rain.
Yeah, can you get me Rihanna? Um, yeah, she's not gonna want to hear what just happened, and she's gonna want to put a stop to this.
Personal friend of the show, Rihanna. I know she was a fan of what I just did. It was
She
fine.
was after what you just did. She is no longer a fan of our channel.
She is personal friend of the she her and Holly Berry, personal friends of the show. They're fine. It's
I'm gonna
great.
tell you right now, Holly Berry is willing to forgive me if you will never do that again.
Man. Anyway, we are the We Trying channel. I'm Michael doing my worst impersonation of Rihanna possible.
Ooh, I think you can still do worse.
Oh, I could. I definitely could. That's Leroy drinking something. I don't know what he's drinking.
Pilsner.
A Pilsner.
I
There
am
we go.
doing an extra crispy Pilsner from the Dirty Bull Brewing Company.
Sure.
They are in Durham, North Carolina.
Okay. There we go. So that's that. Yeah. So you guys have noticed we haven't done videos in a minute because we kind of just been doing stuff, but we are back on sort of a semi-regular schedule, putting out a bunch of reviews for stuff that have been out for the past month and some change.
Hey, hey, hey,
Uh,
we're giving them time to see it. So
yeah.
when they come here,
Uh huh.
it's like, oh yeah, now that I've seen it, because some people take some a while to see some things.
Sure.
Like I hadn't started some shows or some movies, and
Sure. Sure.
everybody doesn't watch it as soon as it drops.
You're right.
People have lives.
Yeah, I guess so. So if you want to ruminate on our musings on our YouTube channel and We Trying, you can like, comment, subscribe it when you see this video, see all our other videos as well. You can also find us on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all those places, either We Trying or We Trying Y'all. We'll be running through the captions for you as we
Hmm.
get through this. But yeah, for this first video back, we are going to talk about um, the Umbrella Academy,
Season 3.
season three. Where you want to start?
Um, Overall, what do you think of the show Umbrella Academy? Like,
Oh, yeah, sorry, yawning. It is what it
with
is.
uh, my brother-in-law, that I think was the best season, and I said I really
Mhm.
liked 1 and 2. Like, it's not that I didn't like 3, but 1 and 2 were just so powerful for me. And he was like, "Huh?" He's like, he thought 2 was the worst season, and I feel like the show keeps getting better and better as it goes on.
I have enjoyed the show. Um, you guys can actually see if you go to our previous channel, News 19 Nerds, you can see our review of season one
Hmm.
when we essentially said this is the best version of the Phoenix Saga there is. Um, it
Dark
was
Phoenix
done.
Saga.
Yes, sorry, yes, the best version of the Dark Phoenix Saga is not done by an X Men, not a live action version of the Dark Phoenix Saga. It's not done by an X Men movie, but it's done by the Umbrella Academy. Um, I enjoy the dynamic between all of the actors and actresses on the show. I really feel like the chemistry they found amongst them is great. They really do feel like a dysfunctional family. And I think they do a good job of
Oh yeah.
writing that line, writing the line between being dysfunctional but not being annoying because they definitely hit some of the same beats throughout each season, but it's kind of like that's just your family, right? You're always going to have issues with family, but your family's always
Yeah.
going to come
Mhm.
together. And it's always a thing of I can pick at my brother, I can pick at my family member, you can't pick at the family member type thing.
But
And I
you
see
can't. Hmm.
right, and I see that
Yeah.
through every season. I think they do a good job of writing that balance where again you're going to hit some of those same beats, but it's never annoying. Uh-oh.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I
There we
like characters. Like
go.
you were introduced to them, the Umbrella Academy in season 1, and to me, the reason why I like 2 so much, and I know some people probably are not a fan of season 2, or is like as much as I am, because there's so much growth done in that season. You got so many different personalities that I felt like was so interesting. And season 3 built upon that, the dynamics between different characters and how how Klaus has grown,
Hmm.
how Luther to me was a little stagnant between chasing behind Allison, but now like you can see I really do just enjoy the different quirks of each person, each member, and how they interact with each other, and like how Vanya and Allison were so at each other's throats in this season versus Allison being the one who like
Well,
wanted
not
to a
Vanya,
sister
Victor.
relationship in season one. What no, what I'm saying, Vanya in seasons 1 and 2. Now
Okay.
Victor,
Okay.
hold on. Victor and Vanya being at each other's throats, considering how Vanya and Allison got along and how they Vanya talked about wanting to be sisters. And now in this season, there's that animosity. And I I really love the dynamic between these characters that are family, and it reminds me a little bit Netflix's other hit show way, but some of the same dynamic, Stranger Things, in the sense of
Hmm.
these characters aren't blood related, all of them, but they are family, and how there's different plot lines and different people doing different things. And it's like if they only had a cell phone and if they'd only stop and talk to each other, it reminds me of that dynamic where you don't get annoyed with them and you love once they all get together and they fight whatever big bad they have to fight. It's interesting that both of these shows are on Netflix. They're two of Netflix's most popular shows,
Hmm.
and they have kind of that same dynamic.
Yeah, I agree. Not to get into spoilers yet, but one thing that really excited me about this third season, we saw it at kind of the cliffhanger end of season two was, oh, they're in a some type of universe or some type of fractured reality where now not only is there the Umbrella Academy, there's the Sparrow Academy, and we're seeing this other parallel universe of these people. Who's the patriarch? Was his Hargreaves? What's his name?
Hargraves,
Hargraves. We're
Hargraves,
seeing him kind
hmm
of raise another group of teens or kids with their own version
the
of them.
Sparrow Academy.
Yeah, Sparrow Academy, right?
Yeah, the Sparrow
Um,
Academy.
so it was kind of cool to see the differences between like who their number one versus their number one was, or number two was number two, all that kind of stuff, and just to see how what kind of what that family dynamic was compared to our original seven kids or whatever.
It was it's I want to say this, but I'll wait for spoilers when
I
we
mean,
get
we
into
can get into
spoilers.
spoilers.
But one
I
of the
mean,
things that I was very well, I wanted to give like before we get into spoilers, like give your like if you had to rate this show, because what would you rate this show?
sure. For me, season three, uh, I'd give it 4 out of 5 Kugel Blitzes.
Okay,
Yeah, 4 out of 5 Kugel Blitzes. I enjoyed it.
I would I would give it. I would do the same. I would give it 4 out of 5 pogos.
Okay,
4 out of 5 pogos on a motorcycle.
okay, fair enough. All right, and with that, we will get into spoiler territory. So we're going to change it to our orange background, so you know we're in spoilers here. All right, so
You have
get it
been
off your
warned.
chest. What you want to say? You have been warned. We're in spoilers.
I really liked seeing the difference between the Umbrella Academy and how Hargraves raised them versus the Sparrow Academy to where Hargraves was no longer threat. And you saw how they interacted once Pogo was gone. Like
Hmm.
how once they figured out what was going on, the Sparrow Academy took out Hargraves, and he wasn't a looming threat to the Sparrow Academy like he was, or a looming influence like he was with the Umbrella Academy, where so
Mhm.
many of them were seeking his approval. The Umbrella Academy, where the Sparrow Academy was like, we're the stars, we are what the world wants to aspire to. Whereas
Yeah.
the Umbrella Academy, they were a dysfunctional bunch of yahoos, where the Sparrow Academy was like a business.
Yeah, it's interesting to think that, oh, without that outside, that influence of a parental figure or whatever, they kind of were able to just do their own thing. You almost wonder if the Umbrella
Mm.
Academy would have done the same thing. Hindsight being 2020, I feel like they kind of needed that Hargraves over them to push them to do anything, because they seem like they're kind of, like you said, dysfunctional. I almost feel like if he wasn't there, I don't know if they would succeed even if he wasn't there.
Well, see, that's the interesting question, because we saw what I thought was very interesting in season three, which I really liked, was watching Klaus and Hargraves get together, and the fact that Klaus just kept at him, kept at him, kept at him, and how he came out of this fog, he stopped taking the pills, and how he helped Klaus realize his potential, and that
By
relationship
getting hit over and over on a highway. Yeah.
that they formed, that had to be one of the funniest scene sequences. I mean,
Hmm.
just hit after hit. But I just thought that was so interesting watching him interact, and then the fact that he realized, like, myself and this, and your view of me is different than what I want, and I didn't reach you the way I should have, and I thought that was very interesting. The wedding, I thought, was very interesting, like watching him try to come around and interact with them. I really liked season three. I really did. I really liked watching Klaus. Five. I mean, five is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, that
Allison,
actor is really
man,
great.
she just, yeah. Who in my opinion, should be Damian Wayne
If they do that movie or whatever.
if they Warner and could cast the Damian.
Okay, fair enough. How old is that actor now at this point? He has one of those faces
Uh,
where he just seems young
so that,
forever.
uh,
Let's see.
well, his name is Aiden Gallagher, and he is born, according to
He's
IMDb.
18.
I have it pulled up right here. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was born in 2003, September 18th, 4 days after I was. Sorry, his birthday is 4 days after mine. Sorry.
Okay.
Uh, so he was listed as in 2020 top 10 breakout stars. He's number two on IMDb's list,
Okay. Cool.
which I agree. To me, his personality is Damian Wayne encapsulated. So if you've ever wanted to see a a Bruce Wayne and a Damian Wayne, that's Damian Wayne. Number five is Damian Wayne. Um,
Okay.
but just like watching him, because it's like you said, who's their number one? Because Luther's their number one, but he's not in charge.
Hmm.
So is it five?
I
Is
kind of
five
feel
in
like they.
charge? Because
I don't know. They just kind of do whatever they want, and they listen to him because he seems to have the most idea of what's going on. But they just do whatever. So yeah.
but Luther even that up. Luther brought that up. He was like, we just kind of do whatever, man. Like when they caught Luther, and like that whole scene when like they're trying to pump Luther for information, and Luther's like, I don't know anything, man. And they're
Yeah.
like, but you're number
I'm not.
one.
I'm not.
And
I'm
he's
not a
like,
real leader. Yeah, that was good. Um, it kind of it in their mind they couldn't even envision a scenario like where the numbers don't matter. Like clearly the numbers matter to them, so
Mhm.
obviously the number one must mean something. So like, what do you mean you don't? They couldn't even comprehend, which was telling.
Man, did they not understand that? And it was the dichotomy between Sparrow Academy and the Umbrella Academy, as far as like how the difference between how Ben was in the Sparrow Academy, being number two and wanting to be number one,
Mhm.
was just so amazing because, again, that overbearing presence of Hargraves not being there was so different to where these kids turned out so. But it's also interesting that you had like a character like Sloane, who by all accounts was a decent human being, and the rest of them were just kind of like, I
Do
don't
we
know, like,
know? Has a season 4 been confirmed yet?
not yet.
Okay.
As of this
That's-
taping, no.
okay. Cool. Yeah. I know
Now,
people were
watch when
trying
we
to say
post it.
sure.
Watch
Right.
when we
It'll
post
be
it.
everywhere. But I wish, like we think we both said this. We really enjoy this show. I wish Netflix would do a thing of kind of the way Amazon does with Boys, of like before the season premieres, they've already extended the next season ahead of time, just because I just want to have that reassurance. I hope
Mhm.
it continues because we talked about Hargraves, and I find it interesting that in both universes, or both timelines, or whatever you want to call it, they got just as pretty much an asshole. Well, I guess the alien Hargraves, whatever, is pretty much an asshole. He doesn't really care about these kids as he tries to fix his mistakes.
I think he does care, but I think he, I wonder, does he care to a point? And I'm just like, are they people to him or are they pets? You care family members.
Hmm.
Do you care about your like I have two little kids, I have two boys, and I have a dog. I love Bamboo, but if I had to choose between Bamboo and the boys,
Hmm.
my little boys. So that's what I'm like. Does he care? Because we saw at the end of the season, there was something he was after, his ultimate goal,
Hmm.
and he got what he was after. My question is, did he just not care about them as far as like children because he's an alien,
Hmm.
and he cared about them just like pets, and that's one of those things. And I hate to bring up
You
Invincible,
brought that
but
up with Invincible. I remember you bringing that same type of logic up too.
because again, that's what what's it, Ultraman? When he
You
talked
tell
about
me. I don't know what the man name is.
Ultra,
That sounds right.
uh
I got to type that in.
when he talked about Invincible's mom, when he was like, I love her, but it's like having like, did he really love
Omni
her,
Man,
or is it
maybe.
like Omni Man? Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
Hmm.
Ultraman is something totally different. I'm quite sure in the comments they're quite sure will correct me.
Yeah.
But it was like, is it like having a pet? And that's what I wonder for Hargraves. Are these people like pets to him? Like he moves these different pieces around to where he really doesn't care what happens to them, because you saw he was, after all that work he did with Klaus, he was ready to throw Klaus away.
So you aren't going to help me for my end goal, so I don't need you.
Hmm.
Him and
And
poor Luther.
uh, Luther is just a nice guy.
Luther is like the James Marsden of this world. Just
Oh,
or not James
oh,
Marsden, but the Teddy, I
Teddy.
should say. Yeah, Teddy of
Oh,
Westworld, just getting shit on.
oh, oh. Spoiler alert! If you hadn't seen Westworld season 4,
Hmm. Um, yeah, it's So did you read the original graphic novel of this?
I read the original 2.
Okay.
Um, I have the original issues. I have the original 2 graphic novels. I s- I don't know what happens from here on.
Okay.
So I didn't know what happens after season 2, and they've taken some liberties. I really miss Kate Walsh. I
Yeah, she's
really
awesome.
liked Kate Walsh as a villain, and I hope in season 4, if they get a season 4, we get to see her come back,
That'd be
because I
interesting.
I really enjoyed. Well, one, I like Kate Walsh, and two, as a villain, Kate Walsh was amazing. Um,
I like who is Lila Pitts. Was that her daughter? She was
yep,
a villain turned kind of anti-hero, whatever she is in season three.
yeah.
I like that actress. I like her dynamic with Diego a lot.
I
And
will
as
go ahead.
somebody who didn't know the comic, I enjoyed this idea of them having a kid. Um, and then towards the end, like, oh yeah, that's not your kid. What do you mean it's not my kid? I enjoyed that a lot. I thought that was
Oh,
a fun
that was
twist.
that the way she got Diego, man. But
Hmm.
I will say this: she fits in the whole dysfunctional family thing because she comes from a dysfunctional family.
Hmm.
Um, the fact that your mom is actually the person who hired Five or sent Five to kill your parents, and then she took you in after Five couldn't do it. I mean,
Hmm.
that whole dynamic was a is just so almost as if there's so many characters you could be a deep dive on every single one because Elliot Page's Ellen Page's transformation into Elliot Page was handled so perfectly on this show. If
Hmm.
you it's all like I didn't watch Transparent, so I don't know how well they did that. But from all from everything that I've seen, Umbrella Academy handled somebody being transgender, I think, better than could be expected. The different ways people handled it, the way they interacted with her before to him now, and I hope that I'm saying this correctly. But I just thought that that transition from Vanya to Victor was handled so appropriately, and it fit the story,
Yeah.
and it worked. Like it was just so well done.
Yeah, I think the show did it. And again, people who are in the chat who are better versed in this, please let us know if we're getting it wrong, and
Yeah,
let us know how we can be better. But just from my opinion, I think the show did a good job of not trying to make that the highlight. It was a thing that happened. They moved on and they accepted it, and they didn't try to make it like stand out. Like, see what we did here, or anything. It
yeah.
was just a show. I think they did a really good job with that.
And
Um,
I like the idea that like when Luther had issues with it, the way they handled it, like it
mhm.
just the way they interacted with each other, I just thought that it was pretty. I really enjoyed it, and it really educated me on how to handle things because again, I didn't grow up with these. And I don't want to say something, but I grew up where the word tranny was used quite often, you
Mhm.
know. And now, as thanks to my wife and friends of mine, I understand, you know, like what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And it's just refreshing to see that as our our nerddom is also embracing these changes and trying to be welcoming. I just really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah. Is there anything in this season that didn't work for you? We talked about
Um,
how much we've loved it. Anything that you're like, eh, I could have done without this?
Not that I could have done without it, but I didn't like the fact that Father or Hargraves, the alien part of it wasn't picked up on more. I feel like it was kind of tacked on at the end once we finally got to see where Pogo was, and and then you realize, okay, why is Hargraves this way? And this idea that he's an alien and the reason why he sent Luther to the moon, like I just felt like that part of it because let's say if we don't get a season 4, like that to me should have been explained more or been further into the season so that you would understand a little bit more. It just seemed like at the end it was like this suicide mission, the moon, all of that stuff was a lot
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like season one and
for
season
the
two,
last two.
right, right. Season one and season two, we knew that Hargraves was an alien from there, right? Like this isn't the very first time we've
No,
seen this. Didn't that come up in like another season? Like, oh,
it
Hargraves is
came
an
up
alien?
it came up in season 2. The problem that I have with it is that he has an ulterior motive,
Hmm.
and and there's so much other stuff going on that we're like, it was almost like an afterthought. But it's like at the end of the thing, we're realizing that the mission, that's a suicide mission, is more important than anything to Hargraves. And I just feel like that should have been given a little bit more emphasis, but it wasn't.
Okay, yeah,
And
I
I
agree with
didn't
that.
I didn't like that being shelved towards the end. I feel like there should, and maybe I missed it. Maybe there are Easter eggs and little things that were, but I feel like that wasn't given the weight that it should have been given, considering how big it was towards the end.
One thing that I would agree with that in terms of things that I didn't like. One thing that I really liked is I loved the whole Footloose dance number in the very first episode. That was unexpected for me, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Yes,
Because it wasn't. I think they did a good job in previous seasons of having dance numbers, so it's not completely out of the blue for them to just break out in song or dance because we've seen it in other seasons. But the way it was handled here and the fact that he was hallucinating was really cool. Um, I just wanted to bring that up. But what I really liked was I think a lot of times in shows when characters deal with loss, they can kind of it like they're over it in like one episode or maybe two episodes. But I feel like Allison dealing with the loss of her husband or her daughter from season one to her husband in season two,
season two. Yeah,
um, I felt like it was handled very well and that she was dealing with that shit the entire season, and you really got to see her kind of grasp with it and come to terms with it. I guess at the end of season three, she's back where she has a husband and a daughter, supposedly. Yeah,
and I like the fact that Lila was trying to explain what was going on to like, and it almost is like, in order to be a time traveling assassin, whatever you want to call it, you have to not be sane. And
yeah.
Allison is sane. And to deal with these different things, to where she was having this PTSD, these people aren't here anymore. And I think that was interesting. Excuse me, that an interesting aspect of on that I feel like, as you change things with time travel, you're going to lose people. People won't exist. That idea that there's a mental health aspect with it, I
Hmm.
thought was very, very interesting aspect. So,
What I'm looking for.
well, uh, I meant to put him in the credits, but guess who's here?
Oh, look at that.
Hey, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. And we have Owen.
It's
Owen's
wonderful.
here. Say hey. Ooh, good burp, buddy.
Owen looks slightly drunk. I love it.
Sleep drunk.
Yeah. Um, so I mean, yeah, I think we kind of hit on all the major topics and the points for season three. Any other major things you want to say before we wrap up?
Who is your favorite family member?
Ooh, hmm, it might be Luther because
Hmm.
he has over one, two, and three. I'd say Luther because he is kind of just the lovable loser that you just want to succeed. I was happy when he got married, and now he's a ghost man. I don't know what's going on. But I just like Tom Hooper. I think he's doing a good job with that of a person who is trying so much to please their paternal figure and just be the leader of this team.
Hmm.
And he's finally, like you said, coming into his own in this season and realizing, Dad wasn't didn't know what he was talking about. I can do my own thing, and he was trying to find a way to bridge the two families. Yeah, I would say Luther for me. What about you?
It's a tie between 5 and Victor. Klaus
Okay.
is creeping up. Klaus creeped up, and I really like Klaus, but it's a tie between Five and Vanya slash Victor. Only Five because Five reminds me of this guy who hates his job and then realizes, oh, like he hated the job, he hated the what is the entity called? I'm trying to remember the
Oh
commission.
gosh,
I'm trying to
that
remember what
sounds
it's
right.
the people he worked for.
The commission sounds right.
Uh, but basically, he started it. Like
Yeah, that
spoiler
was
alert,
nice.
like he hated this. Like it just like that whole like that just that whole Easter not Easter egg, but that whole reveal was hilarious to me. Like you spent all this time fighting the board, being mad, and you started the whole thing. It was just so hilarious. And Vanya slash Victor, because in season 1 and 2, when Victor was Vanya, didn't know how to control her power. So she had these powers. It was just I don't even know how to explain it. She like we talked about this, the Dark Phoenix saga, and then in season 2, she gets this romance. I believe the lady's name was Grace. Um,
That sounds familiar.
it's and then we had Harlan, which I thought was a very excellent addition in season 3,
Hmm.
and then we get to see Victor come to terms with actually knowing how to use his powers, the relationship between Allison and him hanging out with the boys, with Diego, the whole bachelor party for Luther. I thought was with the karaoke. I thought was hilarious, and I like one of my favorite memes has to be with Five and Vanya driving the cars in season 2, and they're both looking at each other like it's just like that's why they're a tie for me
Hmm.
because their situations are so different, but they always seem to have this was like, hey, if you try again, I will kill you. And like,
Hmm.
it's just how do you say that to a family member?
I mean, I feel like the family member is the only person you can say it to.
I mean,
I feel like that's what this show is saying. Like, these characters are wild, but in the end, they're family, so they can say and do anything to each other. They're always going to be there for each other. It seems, which is
yeah,
nice.
that's why I said it's a toss between those two characters because I feel like no one else can embody those two characters as well as they do.
All right. So let us know in the comments below who your favorite character is for season 3 and the seasons overall. Owen, you got a favorite?
Who's your favorite, buddy? Pogo. He said Pogo.
Pogo. Okay, cool. Pogo, love it. Um, like I said, you can leave comments here on our YouTube channel, like, comment, subscribe. Click on that bell so you know we put up new videos. We put them up occasionally, even though it's not as frequent as we like, but we'll work on that.
Yeah.
In addition to finding us on YouTube, you can find us also on Facebook at We Tryin'. Leroy has informed me that there is a page, and I've been able to find it, so that does exist. You can also find us at We Tryin' Y'all at Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Those are all of our little handles. We will be back with more videos, and we out.
Peace.